Joined today with hubby.
Hubcap.
And we are doing pyro critiques. So I want to preface this at the very beginning. These are just my opinions. This is just how I would personally handle it. If you have a way that's working better for you and you like the results, you keep doing that. You don't have to take any of this advice. This is just my thoughts. So, with that, we're starting with Beryl. He submitted her bear. I do have a photo down at the bottom of the black and white so I can see the contrast better. And I have the request, or what he was looking for, over on Facebook. So we'll quickly go through that. This was done on basswood with the Optima, mainly the 17 SR, which is the new modified 17. He wants to know if he should add a background because the original has a background. How to improve the look of the water. Should there be more all over shading so he's darker? If I do a bear again like this, do I go to higher heats and more layers to get him darker? Should I have used a ball tip more on the hair in a scribbly manner to give a somewhat frizzy look to some of the hair? So those are the things we will look at for Beryl. So the first thing, and I got pencils so I can, and pens. Based on what you're looking for.
Beryl in chat?
Yeah, he's in chat. Sorry, he's right there.
So good.
Go ahead.
Ted Turner. Wow, Ted Turner's in chat. Michelle Vales. Brent C. Boyer. Sheila Edwards. Chris Kirshner. Steve Rupel. Grace, of course. Philip had to go. Eve is here, though.
Of course, our wonderful mod.
And
Eve is here.
Let's see if I missed anybody. Did I say Sheila Edwards? Probably.
If not.
And Beryl. Okay, there's Beryl.
Hello, everybody. Let's get into this.
Okay, good.
We're already late.
Go.
Already late. So, what I would do. So, looking at your photo, that is a lot of detail going on in the background. And putting it in could put too much emphasis and draw away from your bear, which I have to say, your bear has the awesomest hairdo. I love it. He looks like a rock star. I love it. And looking at yours, you did a wonderful job on the hair as well. So for the background, what I might actually have done is, let's see here. I think I might have raised the waterline a little bit and done more of a blurred out water back here. You actually did a really good job on your water. It's one of your questions. Looking at it, because we don't have a lot of ripples going on where the light is hitting it, you did a really good job with your shading of the water. One thing I notice, just because I'm looking, and mind you, I'm looking at all these pieces the same exact way I would look at mine. Looking at it.
Hold up.
Mm-hmm.
They say that you're soft.
Now I'm soft.
I can hear you, but your volume's low.
Why you two gremlins? Let's see here. Show's going well.
Well, you said volume is fine for her, though.
As I'm putting my dry face in the camera. Let's see here. See if I can up my mic and see if that helps. Okay, did that help a little bit? Yeah, that's a scary view. Why? This is just all messed up today. Is that better now?
Face.
You didn't see it.
Okay.
No.
Audio is great, says Michelle. And Beryl says it's just mine.
Okay.
So, Michelle says it just got louder. So.
Yeah, I did. I upped the level input.
Okay.
So one thing I noticed with the water is the water, of course, is horizontal. So in burning the water, I would also burn it horizontal. And that will give you the feeling of the water moving. because if you look at the photo, hopefully, it is actually going horizontal along with the bear because it's water and it's flat. So we're not looking at a waterfall. So I would do the same burning because you did a really good job on that. But I would go horizontal with it, and this will give your perspective, the realism you're looking for, and make it come out more to your liking, and go all the way over to the edge with this shadow. And what we have near the water here is the bear's shoulder, or back shoulder. The perspective is slightly off. So if you shade and have the light hitting it, it will make it feel more round, because right here we do have dark, and then it rounds this way into dark. And then to get that curve. So I think the biggest thing is following the planes of the skin and muscle. The direction of your fur. You asked if you should go darker. Yes. You did where your dark is on his cheeks. I would say that's what most of his body would be, especially here in the front. So darkening up this contrast, and then you would actually have to go a little darker in here, which is fine because it would give you the contrast you're looking for. That's light, and then going with the groups of hair. But yeah, if you do this bear again, I do know Beryl has told me that he is already oiled and sealed. So this is for the next time she decides to do a bear. But looking at it, here you're kind of the shape is a little off. And actually, even if you didn't seal this, you could fix this. But I definitely think next time you have a really good base. So I think next time when you choose to do it, I think you'll be even happier with it. I'm not going to darken everything because... Well, take it away. Okay, what are you seeing?
Oh, can I say something?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sometimes in art, we have to do a little bit of augmentation on reality to make things look right, to make them look more naturalistic.
Yeah, right there.
And the one thing I'm seeing, I'm looking at your reference, and where the fur line meets the water.
Right here.
Yeah, in your burning, it's a really hard line, and it would help to kind of break up that line in the fur pattern. And you can see in the reference that it is broken up a little bit.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it looks a little too harsh, I think. But that being said, I think it's lovely.
Yeah, you did a really good job. But yeah, even because this is a harsh line, really nailing down the shape as well. Because what I'm seeing here is we're not straight across. We have the water following the form, and it comes down, and that's the shoulder that we were talking about right here. So following that form. Now Jason just walked out, so if there's questions popping up, I'm not looking. That form will help give the feeling of him sitting in the water, make it feel less stiff, I think. This part of the water I would blur out. guess going off this bottom, he almost looks like he's wearing a hoodie. In your photo, it almost looks like he's wearing a hoodie. You captured him so well in this photo. But all of this would be darker. And then when we get up to the face, there we go. His nose is a little sideways, so your drawing's not incorrect. But we do have some more darks going on that frames the nose, that shapes it. And we definitely want to get those. We got that dark. Looks like your value's pretty on for the nose. But I definitely think you got it when you ask about it being darker. I definitely agree with you. Let's see here. See right here, it would be a little darker. I think the darker for shadow come into that a little bit. Let's see here. And then, so how's that looking to you, Beryl, so far? And do you have questions before we go any further? Because I think I want to hit up on his locks up top. And you asked about fuzzy fur, which the fuzzy fur, I would say yes, but I mainly see it in his ears. I see less. The fur of the bear is more uniform in straightness on his actual body. But you definitely got some fuzzy up here that I think would make the piece feel more realistic and break up the texture some more. So a little bit more interesting. Would that be the right term? Because I already think this piece is interesting. He's got such a look on his face of, yes, can I help you? Because he's in the middle of taking his bath. If we darken and just leave the high highlights, I think you'll feel that he's more of what you're looking for.
That reflection in front of him, though, the dark
right here, yeah.
That's amazing.
No, she did an awesome job on that. I think a few little extra darks, especially in following, going horizontal with the burn, just would, let's see, this is not sharp, it's more soft. Now, I know you transfer this, and sometimes when you're looking at when you're doing a transfer, it happens to me all the time. You think you got it nailed down, and then you start burning, or you start looking at it, and for some reason, the darn pattern's off, even though you took it directly from the photo. Let's see here. But in doing darker shading and bringing them close together, it will make, in following the curve, it will make the fur feel more attached to the bear. Make him feel fuller and a little bit more, for lack of term, 3D. I'm going to have to sharpen this pencil. So really it's just about, in this case, based on what you did, I think it was a little bit more patience. Just slowing down a bit. And just watching your reference more. Which is hard, and especially in the beginning. It makes the burn feel like it's taking longer, because you're looking at the reference more than you're looking at doing the actual burn. But that gets quicker the more you do your art. And see, we actually have some water drops. I see that. I'm guessing you decided to omit those because partly what those are. What I'm going to do, so I can see a little better, is pull up the reference photo and zoom in. Hopefully you can see. Okay, yeah, some of that is fur, some of that is water. It's definitely an artistic choice as to whether or not you want to include it. And I probably should make this, there we go, brighter. So that would be an artistic choice as to whether or not you want to include the water. In fact, because there's only a few water droplets, it might actually, if you included them, might actually make it feel a little off. So it would be either, I think, add. Oh, what we got there. Okay. This is a part of him, so I'm guessing artistic decision to leave it out, which actually I think is fine. I don't know that it's not like it's adding information. In fact, I think it would be a little distracting. So I think that was a good choice. I'm using F. So there we go. So your high highlights are here in his nose, which is normal. We do have darkness here. So yeah, overall, I would darken him. Follow the lines of his fur. Now I do see some fuzzies in there, but I think we'll move up to his ear. Oh, it's still on camera. Do you say anything else before we move to the top and wrap it up? Remember,
yes, the board fell. One thing, Beryl, that I always end up doing, and Valarie lets me know right away when she sees something, what you do. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I want this
to be positive.
Anyway, one thing that I'm guilty of is being impatient, and sometimes I miss like little nuances. And I'll go back later and I'll catch them. But if your piece is large, you can look at it in the mirror, or you can take a photo of it and reverse it, or even look at it upside down. But like one thing I notice is like this shadow line here, the top part of the shadow starts above his eye here.
Mm-hmm.
And
we just haven't gotten that far.
Oh, okay. But anyway, I mean, this is easily fixable. You just shade up more.
Yep, it's just a little more work, a little more time, I think is all. This one. Oh, you did do perfect, girl. So, we'll go ahead and not do that. Where is my other clip? Because this is driving me nuts. I have the board behind it. No. That's what's causing this problem. I have a board behind it because if I need to demonstrate a technique. Let's see if that works. That clip. Well, I wanted a smaller one, but at this point, there's just been so many issues today. Where'd you go?
It's holding the cord.
Yeah, it's holding the cord. We're just going to move on. Act like it didn't happen. That's all I can do right now. So, I got it. Please hold on to it in case this falls again.
Okay.
Excuse me. Okay, so moving up to the top, what Jason was saying was bringing up the line, because that is how his fur goes. And I think this you will find better defines his face and gets you the detail you're wanting where it feels right. This area is darker. His little part. So I would darken that to make it feel more round like it is in the photo, because we're at the top of his head and forehead. And the hair kind of splits off, so there's it's smoother in here. I'm trying to look at my phone. Yeah. It's shorter hair that's going back. So you could actually do that smoother.
We probably need to move on as soon as we can.
Okay.
You get 5 more. We're already at 11:30.
Okay. Well, we were also late, remember?
I know, but we're not that late.
Okay. And then the ears. Actually, there are less details in the ears, meaning you really can't see where the ear canal is, how the fur tends to fall, like in a cat or a dog. A cat would be a good, where the hair leaves an opening. What you've got, though, is...
Beryl's asking, should I have used longer strokes rather than short, choppy ones that she used?
For the center, I would have used shorter strokes, and then the longer strokes for the groups coming out. And I would have tried to make sure that it didn't feel outlined. I mean, a couple of strokes do, but that it's hard with hair. It's hard.
Well, plus it's wet.
And it's wet. Yes, that's true. Very true. That is wet. So for like the ear here, this looks like longer strokes going in the direction of the shape of the ear.
When you're looking at fur, if the fur is short, you want to use a respectively shorter stroke, and if it's longer, you want to try and use a longer one, because as people look at it, their eyes will look for the continuous line. And so if it's long fur, like Valarie said earlier, burn in the direction of the fur, but also try the length, I guess.
Yeah, the length does make a difference. And when you do it shorter, like, say Layla, she's a bull mastiff. She has extremely short hair. I would put less detailed strokes altogether, because it would make her look straggly. And you want the fur, if their fur is smooth, you want to mimic that. So doing the direction and how you do the length of your strokes matters. Now, he is not, looking at him, other than the hair on his nose up here going into his part, the rest of him does not look smooth. So you can get away with longer strokes. And now I see what you mean on the chest. It's right here. This squiggly hair. I wouldn't overdo it, but I definitely could see how it would give better texture. Definitely want his whiskers. What? Did I do something?
No, just stuff you're saying.
Oh, I'm just talking the way I would talk in my head.
You're killing Grace.
I'm killing her? Am I going too slow?
No, it's not that.
Oh.
Robin Short's here.
Hey, Robin. So, yeah, just following. The biggest thing is following the direction of the fur and contrast. I think overall you did a really good job on your lines. This right here I would do a little more rounded and not as sharp. But looking at it, I think you got a lot of things in the right place. It was just a matter of darkening it and watching the perspective. And up for his head, there's so much detail up here. What would I do for background?
Well, she said earlier she was thinking about doing bushes.
Bushes? Well, you could get away with just doing abstract, faded out shapes. So there's no detail in them, but our brains would put in bushes and rocks. So that would cut down on your work. The less detail would actually highlight your detail here. And I think you'd be really happy with it. So if we don't have any more questions, and if I nailed everything for you, bro, we can move on. But if you do have a question, let's do it now while it's right here in front of us and we're talking about it. Just giving Beryl time to answer.
Okay.
And as we do that, I keep shading. So.
She says, thank you very much. This is fantastic.
Hopefully that helped. And we shall.
And Michelle Vale says, I like the little bit of details in the background, so it highlights the bear.
Yep.
Yeah. And a lot of times, like, especially when I was younger, I would like try and detail out the background. A lot of times your subject gets lost and you lose that contrast.
Oh, I'm still bad about it.
You're getting better.
I am. Alrighty, we are moving on to MarieJeff. And I have everybody listed down in the description of who we're looking at today.
I don't think she's in the chat.
No, I don't think she is. May not be available.
I'm sorry about the sniffing.
Oh, you ate.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so this was done on basswood with an Optima using medium skew and shader. The only thing I did with this photo is to adjust perspective because the photo was a little off and my brain just goes, ah! So I was fixing it. Other than that, so we have a wonderful photo of a woman and her dog. Just whisper my name in your heart. And I'm guessing those are crossed over. So this is a memorial piece. And I think you have a great base. You did a really good job on these petals. I really like the petals. I really like that add of the petals. It brings it together even more. I really like that. Let's see here. And it's hard to do this from a photo, not seeing this in my hands. But we can do this. The biggest thing I see is contrast. I love that you took out the background. I think it's very distracting, and that was a very wonderful artistic choice because it definitely makes you focus just on these two, just on these eyes, just the compassion between the two. I really like that. It has a wonderful feeling to it. And I'm guessing any pet owner who has lost their fur baby knows that feeling right there. So we will move on to the technical stuff. And the head feels a little off, that it needs to be a little more elongated. And because this is a short-haired dog, so this is a good transition actually. With this being a short-haired dog, I wouldn't do more detailed strokes in it. I think just doing smooth burn with this one, because it is a little further away, and I realize you probably enlarged it to bring the dog forward. I think the smoothness would give it the feel. Because right now, seeing the first strokes the way we do, it feels, to me, a little unfinished.
So, something else that we always have to take into consideration is what the artist's intent is in the presentation. And of course, she's not here to comment, but I would be interested to know, like, if she's going for like a very minimalist look.
Which you can understand, but then you've got the dark in the lines of the hair, and that tells me not so much. Do you know what I mean? I think she was going for realism for the whole piece, and I think it just needs a little bit more work. I think the base is there.
I think looking at the values, it looks like that overall that the woman is darker, and like the shadow behind the dog's ear.
Oops, sorry. There we go. Here's our reference. Yeah, and that's where I was, because it changes the shape when you don't. Oh, that noise. It changes the shape when we don't follow the shadows.
Yeah. And I think that when you have, like, in a piece like this, I think what's throwing it off, if there's anything, is that there's so much dark on the right.
And it feels unbalanced.
Not enough on the left. So if you're going to redo it, I'd say do it lighter.
Sorry. If I go against the hair, ignore that part. I'm just trying to shade quickly. Go with the fur. Go with the fur. I'm just trying to get it done quicker.
Dr. Otto Kano.
Hey, Otto.
Dr. Otto Kano. Dr. Kano. Kano.
One of the things I would change a little bit on the dog is watch the outlining in the eye. The eye kind of breaches the brow line, so we want to keep that. See, on photos like this is I know this is a blurry photo of your reference, which always makes it hard. Let me see. Let me pull up the color. That might help me a little bit. So this is the color we're looking at. And I just think a little more contrast and smoothness with the dog. Let's see here. Because shadows follow the form. So if your shadows feel a little off, it changes the form that we're looking at. So we do have a little bit, I don't want to say error, it sounds too harsh. The drawing is a little off. I think it's a little skewed. I don't know, maybe you shortened him a little bit to fit him into your board better, because looking at the photo, let's see here, I'll go here. Good. It looks like we're going to go from this line to this line on the reference. It looks like from the nose to the jaw we're pretty close. So let's see how the drawing is. Yeah, I think the jaw shadow at least comes back here, which curves. And in doing this, we would have to somehow elongate the nose. Because it looks like, based on just looking at the reference, that our dog's head and the person's head are very similar in size because they're close to each other. And I think that will make a big difference in the drawing. I don't know how Maria got Or Jeff. I'm honestly not sure. I think. Am I saying it wrong? MarieJeff?
Hmm?
MarieJeff. I've been calling Maria. I am so sorry, MarieJeff. So sorry about that.
See?
Well, we've got
MarieJeff.
MarieJeff. I believe it's husband and wife.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure which person I'm talking to. Just gonna say MarieJeff and whoever it applies to. Okay. So getting the shape, because as I zoom out of the photo, I can see this line is longer. I think that's down. These are what, not so big. This is what my eyes are seeing. And what this is this is the jowl that's hanging down off the face. So we do want to have that. And I feel that we've got a little thicker neck than we need, and a little bit more roundness. And so I think doing the smoother fur, making sure that your shadows and darker fur follow the contour of your doggy face. There we go. Do that. It's gonna be hard to see the one. We'll make it feel a little more of what you want. And then on this side, she has a very detailed shirt. Yeah, go away. But I think in this case that I would either make sure this is darker, because looking at it, this is actually see-through, whether it's netting or lace. That's her actual skin you're seeing. And it kind of distracts. But I also would go lighter and get the feel of the shirt, if this is the shirt you want in the piece, or the person who has asked for the commission. I think this dark is just, now I know her hair is dark, so you're trying to balance that. And I think you did a good job on making sure that the highlights were laid out right. And I think you definitely nailed it on those. But we do have lighter coming out of the hair, of the highlight, that I think we need to pay attention to, because this is very stark, going from a high highlight to the dark of her hair without getting, I can't do any further, without getting that gradation in. I think that would make the hair feel fuller and following the lines if it had a little bit more variation in the hair. But I think the shirt is just a personal choice. When it comes to people's photos, I prefer, if they give me a photo, I prefer that the shirt, if it's busy in any way, to just ignore the pattern of the shirt, because it takes away from the person's face and what's going on in the piece. So to make it a little muted, I think for me works better. But looking at her face, we do have more darks. And I know it can be so scary to add darks to a face. You've been working so hard on it. You're afraid you're going to mess it up. So with the Ultimate, you've definitely got a burner that's got nuance to it. So build those darks up if that makes you feel better. I don't know what's there. Let's see here. That's a little curved. So let's get that in. But, and even with a face, you want to go with the curvature of the muscle and the bone. And I know right now it looks... Yeah, I really do. I'm feeling the drawing a little off. You know, my least favorite part of doing a portrait is trying to get the darn chin right on a profile. It always throws me off. Always.
Arceus is here.
Hi, Arceus. Let's see here. So, he's in a lot of shadow. Now, what you could do is lighten up the photo and decide to change your light source, but that's going to change the highlights in the hair. So that's a decision. I would say sketch it out and see what you think before you burn it. So in darkening it, but lightening the hair, at least where there's medium light hitting it. I don't know. Her hair is not black. She's a brunette. She's a dark brown. So there's variation in that color and in that tonal value that I think.
So, if she's not redoing it, let's say, she can't really lighten that dark, probably.
No. Well, if you sand it, you can lighten it. If it was me, I would probably sand, and I've done this, I would probably sand this area here to at least lighten the burn. And then blend that sanding on this side a little darker. And then, looking at it, I think even that would be enough to just sand right here to lighten it, and right here. Just where your highlights are. Not so much down here. Yeah, I think the main thing would be to sand right here. And right here. Leave your darks. You've already got them. They're great darks, so leave them. I just think it needs to have less dark. But the darks you do have, I think are really good. I think they're spot on. As for the clothes, so we got this border around it. We've got lighter petals. I'm just trying to shade in. Go with the direction. Just trying to get this darker real quick. Let's see here. What would happen if this is darker? And see, one of the things I do like doing is taking a photo as I'm working, or when I'm done for that session, taking a photo and then switching it, or even keeping it the way it is and upping the contrast, and that'll let me see things better. So even if you're having to work from a color pencil, upping the contrast, or color photo, taking a photo of your work and upping the contrast. You know what? This seems less distracting if you darken it. And then it doesn't feel it so much of a harshness. You know what I mean?
Are you asking me or them?
You.
Oh.
You're sitting right here, like.
I know, but you're streaming it down.
I know, but I'm asking your opinion on this.
Okay, well, because that pattern on the fabric has so many different shapes, your eye's going to get drawn to it. So by dampening that and pushing it back, then it does. It pushes, it stops that from being a point that your eye just homes in on. So
post the original next to it so you can see.
Yeah.
Maybe.
So if you're like looking at this, just the tones objectively, you can see that she's like 2 shades darker than the dog. And I know that in the original that she is darker, than the dog.
Yeah, he is.
But for, again, going back to what I said about sometimes we have to make artistic choices. If you wanted to have balance, like a little bit better balance, then you might consider like the next time doing something like this to lighten the woman, and keep the balance between the contrasts, the lights and the darks. But
I don't know. I think I kind of like it where she's a little, when you mean lighten, are you talking about her skin?
I just mean like the hair and the not so dark. I mean, I know it's very dark in the photo, but
I do this lighter.
But for balancing, having that more of that chocolate cover being the darkest value, then it would create more of harmony in the whole picture.
So, no, I agree. And there are some darks in the dog. Definitely, I think, want to add or have them there. Now, the only other thing I would point out on this one, if it was me, is the outlining. I think you did a beautiful job getting the petals to feel curved, because it's what roses and flower petals are. I think because there's just enough dark here, you could have followed it around and smoothed it out without adding the outline. It takes a little practice, I will admit. And there's nothing wrong with starting off lighter, because you can always go darker. As we all know, going from dark to light is extremely hard. So start off on light and get your form in. Get all your form in if possible. And then go back and start darkening. And then at the end, put your photo away and just look at it and darken what you feel needs to be darker.
I have to say, though, that compositionally,
I like the composition.
It's really strong, because you get two diagonals. You have the dog and the girl looking at, they're opposed to each other diagonally, and they're also looking at each other directly, which is implied visual lines. And you've got the petals and the rose stem, which are an implied visual line. And in your subconscious, and this is the way visual art works, it makes like a bullseye. That's what I just drew. That's what you're gonna be attracted to. And even like the curvature of the hair, like all those supporting lines keep pushing you back to the center, because ultimately you don't want to get let out of the picture. You want to keep having the viewer circling back to your point of interest, and you don't want a lot of competing points of interest. And in this case, the point of it is really simple. It's all
it's going all back to the rose.
And that's really important. So like compositionally speaking, like this is a really strong composition.
It is. In fact, you could actually, I'd say try to go without the outline. And I think because this is so formed, you could go with more detail of that rose and make the petals softer. Without the outlines, I think they'd still feel like petals. You would know these are petals. So if we don't have any questions on this or comments, awesome job, MarieJeff. I would alter a few things, but I think you're doing great. And keep it up. We shall move on. Alrighty.
How many are we doing today?
Well, I know Michelle needs a lot of detail. Michelle, can I do this one? I know I have it listed in order. I want to do this one real quickly because I think it'll be quick. And then we're going to have to leave these two. Okay. The very next one's next time.
Why don't we break this up into 2 parts and
this will be for November.
We'll talk about next week.
Oh, next week? I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you want 2 critiques in a row? Because next week, day before Halloween, the last Tuesday before time change, daylight savings time. Well, while you guys are thinking, we'll do this real quick. So, Semper Fi. We got a Marine Corps mama who did this piece. I know this symbol very well due to my dad and my brother. I can't see it very... Oh, let me pull up the photo. But I do want to do Michelle today because she's here in chat.
Okay.
And so... But there's just a lot of information I would like to give her. But this should be quick. And alright, Jennifer. Jennifer did this wonderful texture on the land of the globe that I wanted to share. You did a beautiful job. I just love it. It makes it feel cool.
Well, that's cool.
Isn't it cool? She did a really cool job on that. She even has somewhat of a pattern within it. I don't know if that was intentional because she was doing lines and she was putting it in with the ball tip. And this is just so awesome. I love that detail. And I just wanted to share that first because it really caught my attention.
Is this Michelle?
This is Jennifer.
Oh.
This is Michelle.
Oh, Michelle. Okay, that's
this is Michelle's piece.
Sorry,
yep.
Sorry, Michelle.
This should be a quick one, so that's why I wanted to go ahead and get this done, and we will save Isidoros. And sorry, Marina. Though she's in Australia, she may not be up yet. We'll have to save those for. Yeah, I'll go ahead and do it next Tuesday,
okay.
Just so we can have a new round.
Yep.
For November. Alrighty. Love that texture. You did a really good job with your lettering. I personally hate lettering. I think you did a beautiful job with your lettering. I like the outline around the anchor.
So this is a case of stylization for stylization.
It is, but I have to ask where she got the emblem. Because most of the time this emblem you will see either on a flag, Marine Corps flag, or you will see it in metal form, whether it's buttons or pins. This is a more stylized drawing done by somebody else. It is not the original eagle, nor is it the original globe. This is somebody else, whether it is Jennifer's, or because I've seen something very similar. If I Googled it, a lot of this will come up. This actually may very well be a tattoo that is floating around there for Jarheads. Sorry.
It's okay. I have no problem with you saying that.
Jarheads, leathernecks.
Yeah.
Yes. So it makes it a little harder to do the critique because I don't know what Jennifer was going for. As a whole, she did say that it is an 11x9 craft store wood. Cheap red burner from Walmart, since upgraded. The cheap red burner might be the Chinese wire tip. I've had it priced at $45 for over a year. Can't seem to sell any of my work.
That could be so many things.
It can, and I don't...
where she's at. The economy where she's at.
How you're marketing it.
Yeah.
How you're tagging it.
Yeah.
I don't know... I know she wants help on that, but since I don't have that information, it makes it harder.
That's a more in-depth question.
It is.
It requires more info.
But looking at it, knowing my Marine Corps father and Marine Corps brother, in fact, I was going to do this emblem as an 18x24 for my brother. I just never got to it. I had to keep getting new panels because they kept messing up.
I think you're going to say what I'm thinking, but if you don't say it, I'm going to say it. So say what you're thinking first. Or would you like me to say it?
Oh, you go ahead so I can think.
All right, so I'm a soldier, all right, retired, but I've known plenty of Marines. And when you do for the Marine Corps, the EGA is so iconic.
It is.
That most of the time when you do an EGA for a Marine, they
EGA.
want it. Eagle,
Globe, Anchor.
Right. So when you do one of these, they want it to be exactly like the original one. And so if it's stylized, there's a few people that might want that as like a tattoo.
Yeah.
Or they might want it as like, something But most Marines are going to want...
hang on the wall.
Most Marines are going to want the exact thing.
Yeah.
And so that may be why it's not selling. So...
EGA.
Because, like, stylistically, it has, like, a really charming style. And it is the Eagle Glove Anchor, the EGA.
Yeah.
But it's not the exact. And that I think that may be what the issue is.
Now I'm going to show this. This is what you tend to see on uniforms and covers.
And that's what they want.
And that is what they want. And if you notice, the eagle is different. The globe is similar. The anchor is off,
but to me, it's off. But
it's not you.
It looks like a stylistic choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. It's not you. Let's see here. And they are very, understandably, I mean, just like you would be particular about any of your emblems.
Sure. Chris has to go.
Bye, Chris. Thanks for joining. This is a pen, and I'm just showing that there are...
Oh, those are all coins.
Are they coin? No, lapel pin.
Oh.
This
like
is
coins.
from Army Surplus.
Some of those are coins.
Some of them probably are. Yeah. But if you notice, even when they kind of stylize it a little bit, whether it's for a patch, there's certain things that they keep the same.
Yeah.
Such as how the wings are now, because you did on an oval piece, how you did your wings makes sense. And curving them like this to go along with the board, that makes sense. I'm trying to see real quick. I should have looked this up before. If there's maybe a drawing that this was pulled from.
Ted Turner says it might be a tattoo flash from a company called Cherry Creek.
Cherry Creek? All right, I'll
Yeah.
look.
Um,
If you want to do this emblem, though, if you want to do the EGA, there are outlines that you can find. And if you notice, though...
that one on the right, the top right, that would absolutely be unacceptable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it would. That's a no. Well, this is Office of Communications. This is a unit, not a... Trying to see what... Say my brother or my dad would go, yes, no, yes, no, to that. They're not clear. That would be a yes, I think. As close to the pen as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that might be why it's not selling. I love that texture. I really do.
So use that texture on like a dragon.
Oh yeah, a dragon, a snake, a lizard. Oh yeah, you did a wonderful job with your lettering. I do think the eagle needs some work. I think shading versus outline.
But again,
it's stylized.
It's a stylized
It's
thing.
hard. Yeah, it's hard. Not knowing what exactly you're going for, it makes it a little harder.
Yeah.
Let's see here. He said Cherry
Creek.
Let's see here. Because that's what it feels like to me. It feels like an EGA tattoo. Let's see here. I'm just looking through tattoos real quick. Guess we want to have it on the screen in case something is inappropriate. No.
But that's a perfect example because the majority of these tattoos they have variations, but they're all very close on the EGA.
Yep. I mean, some has a realistic eagle.
But
that's personal.
Whether she came up with it and stylized it, or whether it's flash or something like that, it doesn't matter. I don't think.
No. Honestly, I think this would be a beautiful gift for your son. I'm trying to find just line work instead of tattoo because everything is different. But if we don't have anything else, I think we can move on.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the main thing, that This is a stylized version, which makes it harder. And if you want to know why it's not selling, and unfortunately, it depends on who you're marketing to, who's seeing it. If they are looking for the EGA to be more realistic based on, what they're seeing all day, or if they want it more stylized, $45. I don't know how long you've been burning or what your experience is.
Well,
I don't think 45 is a bad price.
No.
No, I don't. I was just thinking about that.
Oh, okay.
Would I spend $45? Would my brother or my dad spend $45 on a piece? That's all I was just thinking. So, if we don't have anything else, I do think I would put more detail into the eagle if I'm sticking with the stylized version. More detail into the eagle, shading on the anchor, and I think the rope needs a little more shading to make it feel more round. Yeah, I definitely would want the anchor to look more metal, more metallic. So, we'll be done with that. And Michelle. We are on to Michelle. Now, this is blown up, so I wanted to be able to see it on camera, but it is a little blurry. That's not Michelle's fault.
Now, Michelle says, be nice. I've only been burning for 4 weeks.
Oh, honey, I wouldn't
got a
want
set
to
for my
mean.
birthday from hubby. Okay.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think you're off to a good start, especially with only 4 weeks. I think that maybe because of 4 weeks that this is feeling very overwhelming to you, and maybe putting this to the side for just a little while, and just trying to get your gradients down, your lines down, just practice, and then come back to this. I think just even 2 weeks of practicing, I think you'll find you feel better about the piece.
Well, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I suppose I could have just said it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, sorry. Anyway,
they already know that you're going to be giving input because you're here.
So when I first started painting, especially when I picked up the airbrush, like Valarie, when she got her first wood burning kit, that like really, you really connected with it, right?
Yes.
Well, I did so with the airbrush. Now I don't lean on it that heavily anymore, but I still use it pretty prominently in my work. But those first pieces that I did, like I really connected with it, and I was like, oh man, this is amazing, and it was better than anything that I'd done. But even 6 months after that, I'll look back, I go back to those first ones, and it'd be like, oh, I really didn't have the hang of the tool yet, and even now, like work that I've done, you should always be improving, So, like I would say, for 4 weeks in, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I would say absolutely what Valarie is saying, to echo on that do some more, and I think that you definitely need some more time on the tool, not because this is bad or anything.
No.
But I think that it's hard to critique when you've just begun something, when you've just started something.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to read real quick for everybody else what Michelle was looking for on information. He says he's very new and really trying to get this portrait right. He had a one-on-one lesson today, and I don't want to tell you anything opposite of a lesson that you've already had. But you still feel that you need more practice, which you're absolutely right. Whatever you feel is good for you, that's right. Especially in the face and eyes, probably elsewhere. I couldn't get the necklace right either. Anyway, this is our deceased neighbor that I really wanted to burn a commemorative piece to donate to the local cafe. The picture is from 2014 by a local resident, and she removed the background. And I did kind of adjust it a little bit, both in color and in angle, because that's what the photo looked like that I got. And it's a little dark, and that's due to the lighting. he's not sure on the wood because she got this from a hobby store. Looking at it, I would almost bet money that's pine. And the first thing I would say is pine's a pain in the butt. Pine, pain, patootie. Pine is pain in the patootie.
Patootie?
Hey, I wanted LPs.
That's weird.
I know. Sanding your wood to at least 400 will help, but because of the grain in pine, you have soft areas in between the harder grain, and so all of it burns differently and can make for a very frustrating time. So I just wanted to get that.
You know, Eve just pointed out a point too, is that people are very difficult to burn.
Yes.
And if this is your first piece,
you've done it. Yes.
That's
I'm impressed.
That's like taking up rock climbing and then like, you know what?
I did it without a rope.
I'm gonna go climb the Grand Tetons now.
Without a rope.
Yeah, I'm good. You know.
Yeah. So, and what I do, let's see here. For some reason, was I looking at another photo? I thought. Oh, okay, I mislooked. I will say that I know that him squinting was bothering you for the piece. He used an Optima, mainly the 17SR and 18M. He tried using the 19S, which is a small ball tip, for the outline, and just wasn't as smooth as the 17 SR. And the original photo has sunglasses, so I think you made a good choice in removing the sunglasses from his hat.
I think.
Okay, I think.
Is this? Is she done with it, or is she? Still...
No, she's still working on it.
Because like the eye sockets are not enough in shadow.
Well, I do have her original pattern, and what you can see is I know I don't know why. Oh, it was another post that she made. I think that his eyes being closed or squinting in the original was not something I'm guessing you were looking for. But here's the thing. When he's smiling, which he is in this wonderful photo of him, he's smiling. So that pushes up his cheeks. That pushes up his nose. That creates the wrinkles on his forehead more defined. Kind of changes the direction of his facial hair. When all this happens just from a smile, it changes the eyes. So in having the eyes drawn in because you're wanting to see more of the eyes, it does throw off his facial features because everything else in the photo is telling us he's smiling.
Whoa.
But with his eyes open, he's... What are you wowing?
She's never done people before.
She's doing an awesome job. I mean...
No, I was surprised.
Yeah, it's awesome. So all I'm looking at are the technical of what I would change if I was doing this. I think I'd leave his eyes. Because I think, even though you can't see the eyeballs, those eyes are part of his personality. Those eyes are extremely expressive and goes along with the rest of what's going on with his face. I don't think in this case, because he's not just squinting because the sun's too bright. He's squinting because he's smiling. He's happy. And in leaving the squinting eyes, it just keeps it feeling like him. Whereas in changing, let's see if I can get this right. Changing the eyes,
well,
and not having a reference of his particular eyes makes it feel like somebody else.
Well, something that people don't often realize is that our face moves as a unit with different expressions. So if you try and change like one component of a face without like referencing the rest of it, you know, then it could look out of place because, you know, if he's squinting and like she said that everything's going to be moving, you know, to
even his ears will
support
move.
that, you know.
Yep.
So you have to be careful when you're doing that.
I think if you're donating this piece to the cafe where he frequented a lot, I'm guessing based on the feeling I get from this photo that he was a man who liked to smile. So this is a look that the people at the cafe would have been used to. So to change it might make him feel a little off to him. So yes, Michelle, keep the squint. In this particular case, I think the squint is part of the whole piece itself. I wouldn't change it. Would you change it? I wouldn't. I like it.
I wouldn't, but something that I've learned over the years is like what I was just saying is like when you have a reference, it's best to try and stick to it as closely as you can and try not to alter it too much because it's little nuances that our brains pick up on.
Yeah.
And
but one thing I want to point out, if you have a picture of him smiling indoors with his eyes open, then you could use that photo. If you don't like the squint. And she said, yes, this is him. Then keep the squint. I think it's important. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, just another comment from Ted. And Ted wants to know, so for new people, what's the best thing to practice on?
Wood-wise, birch or basswood. Subject-wise, I think leaves are great. I think definitely leaves that are either green or changing. We're going through fall, and the changing the leaves, especially when you can get them between the green and the color they're going to be. You got a lot of texture and shading that allows you to practice, but yet you can still, if you lay that leaf down on a piece of wood or a counter and you take that photo, then you've got a smooth shadow underneath, depending on how you light the piece. So I think leaves are really good. I'm looking around. And see, the thing is I haven't even turned on the burner. Doing like 2-inch squares of just practicing different textures. I know Sue Walters has some videos on her channel. She also has it in her book of different squares for different textures. That is allowing just good practice. So you can figure out what kind of textures that you like, that you want to incorporate more. We're all different on that. Fabric.
Yeah.
Just laying out a towel or a washcloth and having the light hit it only from one direction. Practicing getting the curves.
I would say like a shirt or something.
Or shirt,
interesting folds on it.
Yeah, whatever. It's okay, Michelle, that his eyes are small and dark. Because when you look at the photo, we have shadow underneath his nose. We have shadow in his mouth, underneath his beard. Where his necklace is underneath the beard, we have shadow within his cheeks. So going the value of his eyes squinting isn't a bad thing. It actually kind of all brings it together. Because if this was light, but yet you're doing this part dark and this part dark, it would feel imbalanced. So I know it feels dark. And I know that's scary. And to be honest, if you wanted to take a scrap piece of wood and you see the size of my burning here, just transfer this onto a scrap wood and just practice different things, different textures and feeling the pen. It's a little piece in your head. Tell yourself it's a study. So if you mess it up, it is no big deal. It will take less time, but it'll give you the practice of both looking at. And I definitely recommend a black and white photo of your original and a sepia. I don't have a sepia. I can quickly do that real quick.
While you're doing that, you'll find out things about each subject that you're working on when you do studies. Like you'll have revelations about your subject that you wouldn't have unless you did a study of them, like the way that their face looks in particular, or the way that the skin curves or something like that. So like studies are always important. And then I wanted to add to something that about Ted's question.
Okay.
Like, so technical stuff aside, when you're doing burnings for practice or any kind of art for practice, the best thing you can do is choose subjects that engage you, because you're going to be more apt to really do your best work on something that you're connected with as opposed to something you're not. So if you want to do people and that's what drives you, then definitely practice on people. And if not, like when I first started out, I wanted to do people, but, I ended up doing a lot of dragons because I, really, really like dragons. So that was a lot of what, my practice was. But you're still going to learn in doing those things, but the more connected you are to the art, the better work that you're going to do.
Okay, so I've got our gentleman in sepia. Pull that up out of, and I'll show you the difference because this is as close to, like, say, a burning in color and value that I can get to show you. So in sepia, it doesn't look as dark as you think. Not really. And his eyebrows versus the shading under his eyes balance it out. Mm-hmm. You don't have to go black. Just start off with start off value wise with that tone right here. It's gonna be hard to see. Where it's not black. Actually, under the nose. Start with the value that you have under the nose. This will allow you room to darken if you wish to darken. But if those are the same value, it won't feel off.
So something I've said about your work before, and I think is really relevant here, is that because Valarie will start light and then she'll darken, and it tends to look like a Polaroid at first. Like, when you're developing a Polaroid and you just start to see it come into focus, and you're like, oh, there's a person there. And then she darkens and darkens until she gets to the, to the darkness that she wants, and that's how she creates depth. And so if you start light, and then treat it like a Polaroid like that, where you're just increasing the depth gradually as you go, then you're going to find those levels, and you're going to get to where you want to get, I think.
Yeah. I do feel the drawing's a little off. I can't remember how Michelle transferred it. And what makes me think that is the lips. He's got, most people, though everybody's different, has a little bit more bottom lip than that. And I think that's his tongue. What I would do in that regard is...
Angel's here.
Hey, Angel. What I would do...
Are you going to talk about short strokes again?
Actually, probably, because we got facial hair. Probably. So, what we have here...
No, Grace, not on people. Because Michelle asks, what's the best Optima pen for the eyes and face?
For the eyes and face, when I'm doing... It depends on the size of the eye. For pupils, I always use a ball tip. If I'm doing a large eye, I will use my 18M for the iris. And if it's a small eye, like what we're looking at here, I would use either the ball tip medium or my 9M, depending on the size. Because if you look at it, if it's, say, the size of the drawing on my phone, it's really not as big as you think. So 9M wouldn't be bad. Even the 19M wouldn't be bad. Or if you don't have those,
I looked over and you're drawing on your phone.
but they're not plugged in.
Like, no, that doesn't work like that. Don't do that.
It doesn't work like that. Let's see here. You could actually do a lot of this burning with an 18.
What does she have, though?
She has a ball tip 17SR and an 18M. So this is my 18M. Angling the pen. You know what? We may have to actually turn the burner around for this.
Grace wants to know about what about those PPs? I hear those are some good.
The PPs are too small. he did that on purpose. So I'm just going to go with it. The PP is too small.
I'm guessing that
And 2D
and
detail.
Grace are-
They're dying right now.
Yeah.
They're having a hard time breathing. They're falling off.
Oh, that wasn't a serious question. I walked into that one.
I know it wasn't serious. That's why I did what I did.
Good thing.
I know what Grace does now.
Good thing it's too small.
Yeah, it's too small.
Okay.
Let's see here. Do I want to burn this board? We have it burned. It is not sanded. This is Dick Blick Birch. No longer my favorite. So I figured might as well use what I got. So.
Well, Michelle says I don't have either, but 9. But I only have the 19S or 19L.
19S or 19L. Because this is about the size of her piece. Maybe a little bit bigger. Actually, I think it's a little bit bigger. 19L would work. 19L would work.
Yeah.
I haven't turned a burner on in over a week.
Really?
Yep.
We've had a hard week.
I know. So, I haven't burned in a week. Alrighty. So, I've got the 18M in. I'm going to start.
Grace is criticizing me. You know what that means. Oh, Bernadette.
Alright, so I'm just quickly heating up. Test. What's funny is I get so busy, I forget that I haven't burned in a while. And then I turn the burner on and I was like, oh yes, I've missed you. Alright, now I'm freehanding this, so no judgment.
How much longer are we going?
I'm just, not too much longer. I just want to make sure Michelle is comfortable with what.
Okay.
So I'm just doing the squint of the eye. I've got it set on 3. This is the 18M. And I can use the angle of the tip.
Well, there you go. Just tape your phone to it.
Just take my phone.
That's what I do. I'm like, look at this piece.
I'm trying to do this freehand on the spot and get the shape right. So I'm using the 18M. It's at 3. This is birch. So pine is going to burn differently. It's going to have a different feel to it.
She says 19L. She's got.
Yeah. But she's got the 18. So you can actually use that.
18M, 19L.
I'm using the 18M right now.
You're using ATM?
18M, Mike. So let's just get a little.
We have an ATM in our house.
I wish. So if you notice, I've shaded a little bit, and I can tell by looking that this is too light. So what I can do, bump it up to 4. I'm not even going to wait for it to heat up. I'm just going to start using it. Another big thing with portraits and natural objects in general, there are no outlines. And I know you said you're using the the ball tip to create your outline. You really don't need it. I know I did it here, but that's because I didn't have any lines to work with, so I had to put them in so I can see what I'm doing.
Angel, you pay attention. Oh, you're ruining my life.
So
I'm not off my game, Grace. I can never be more on my game right now. I'll have you know.
it's a little wide, but that's okay for now. And so you start off low at a lower heat, and then we know his eyeballs are in there, and I can kind of see them. So what I would do is the upper lid casts a shadow on the eyeball. That's one of the reasons why during a squint you don't see it as much, because we've got a pretty good shadow going in here. I'm going to put the phone down because I need to twist this.
You need to twist it? Just like you did last summer.
Yep. I am. And Chubby Checker would be happy.
I was thinking of
You so didn't think.
I was thinking about the Fat Boys version, but
Oh.
I am a child of the 80s.
What's that
I am aware of the, was it 50s or 60s version of Chubby Checker?
The twist. Late 50s, early 60s?
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that. It's been a while. So,
I'd have to have game in the first place.
just remember this board is not sanded. I know. It's not sanded.
I never.
I know. So it's not going to burn smooth. I knew this when I did it. I just didn't feel... In all honesty, I didn't feel like sanding. I didn't want to do it. It's chilly. It's cold in the garage. It's wet today.
I'm getting cold.
Because I turned the heater off. Okay, so with the 18, I've got it laid down. And with that one plugged in. And I'm going to grab the large ball tip and bump it up into 5 because now I've got it laid down. So I know where things are at. I have a basic shadow in. And it is a little thick, but it's fine. And no, that's not what she said.
I think you're the only one that went there.
I guess so. I was going to head them off at the pass. Get it done. Did they catch it?
No. It was something else you said.
Alright, so this is the ball tip.
Ted's getting in on it.
Oh, good. This is the ball tip on 5. We can bump it down, I think, a little bit. 4 1/4.
I thought Ted was just dad jokes, but
no.
Which I appreciate, Ted. But I see that you have another layer there.
So now that I've burned this, and even though it's not smooth, I can bump up my heat. Oh, I didn't realize how much I missed the smell until I smell it.
You're addicted to the smell.
Who doesn't like the
That's
smell?
That's why you burn. It's just like the smell.
Well, it's a good smell. And going in circles with the ball tip helps a lot to smooth things out. Even there, and because we don't have other things around, we're not going to have the context kind of need for this. But I'm just showing that, just with the 2 pins that you said you had for this particular, I know you've got the S17 SR, but for the eyes, at least, and facial stuff, just with the 2 pins you have, you can do it. I'm not using any other pin. Just trying. So in his squint, and it's hard to see, there is actually some light on either side of the iris. That's where the white of the eye would be, which the white of the eye is never truly white. It's whatever color or shadows around it. And this is dark. So in doing that, again, we don't have the context. Let me see. Can I quickly put in some context that makes sense?
Yes, I know the song Angel.
Yay, portrait freehand. Not my strong suit. With burning.
Well, Michelle thanks you for the detailed explanation. She's very appreciative.
Well, I'm not sure what I'm guessing paid for a lesson, and I'm not sure what she was told. I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Again, this is all my opinion and how I would do it differently. I know you see me outlining. Again, I don't have any lines laid down. That's why. And what I'm trying to do is get some context in here. And then I think we can wrap up. And I'm trying to follow the shape of the skin, like the nose right here, between the nose and the eye. The skin folds down, so we want to burn in that direction. His eyelid, his wrinkles, run horizontal with the eye. So that's the direction we want to burn in. We've got his hair. Or his eyebrows. So for eyebrows, I would burn in a base layer. You can always go back in with a 17 SR and detail some of those hairs out. Let's start with the base layer just to fill it in. I got this squint. So the eyeball sits inside, of course, our heads. The skin wraps around the eyeball. So you will not get a flat shadow under the eye. How to explain this? Because the eyeball is, spherical, and it's pushing the skin up, it rounds the skin. So when you're doing a portrait, you have to round along with that curve to make it feel accurate. Because that is what we have. And I know right now this just looks like a mess. Understandably. But following those lines as you're burning makes a big difference. Alright. Again, you still can't tell it's an eye. It could be something else, so we are not going to. I gotta put something else in. I gotta put something else in. Because that just didn't. No. Not what I was going for. They lost it, didn't they?
I'm always saying.
In a place you had it.
True.
Let's see here. So let's darken something else up. That's still not. No. Let's put a wrinkle here. God, that's not helping. I know. I see it. I'm trying. Let's get him back.
Maybe we should go.
This is not how I wanted it. This is not where I wanted it to go. We were just supposed to be learning stuff.
We're learning stuff, all right.
Okay, but this is no what I wanted.
Apparently not.
I'm trying. Let's put something else in there. You know what we need? We need a nose.
Angel says it's overdue. There she goes.
Okay. Does that help? We're done. I can't unsee it.
Yeah, why is it so dark in there?
I can't unsee it. Oh, Michelle, I hope it's so. There, we're gonna hide
Grace
it.
says add some more folds around the eye. Well, folks, thank you for showing up, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you like what you saw here today, you just remember to hit the little notification bell, and Valarie
Next week's critiques.
Yeah, and then probably more pornographic drawings.
I wasn't going for that. I was trying to help Michelle.
We know. And this is what happened last time. You remember that when you were all serious? Because I do. I'm sure there's people in chat that remember that. Thanks for hanging out with us. You've been awesome. And have a terrific day. Grace says this has been Anatomy with Val. You know,
Bye, guys.
I really don't know how to shut this down, you know. So you're gonna have to do this.
Okay.
Maybe I should learn that for instances like this.
Maybe you should. Okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I hope this helped Michelle. I'm sorry. I lost it. I'm sorry. Bye, guys.
Now we're gonna go eat egg rolls.